Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really grim, dark, Gothic fable. We'll be mapping Fichtean and Nietzschean philosophy onto a terrifying, almost visceral journey straight into the abyss. We are going to explore the total collapse of reality itself and what lies beyond in those unwritten horizons. Let's get right into it.
Look upon your marketplace, you wretched merchants of the I Am. Intense, right? Well, that is a direct Fichtean wake-up call to you, the viewer. It's designed to force us to confront the crumbling of our own self-defined reality, prepping us to completely deconstruct the very illusions we build our lives upon.
Section 1. Shattering the Fichtean Cell and the Illusion of I Am. So, what exactly is a Fichtean cell? Think of it as the beating heart of the old world order. It's this self-defined reality, basically a massive, ego-driven bubble or kingdom built entirely on institutional fabrications. Picture this incredibly rigid structure made of hollow iron shells, where the definitive ink lines of social contracts are treated as absolute, unshakable law. It is the ultimate illusion of permanence.
But what happens when that rigid illusion gets challenged? Enter the ink blot of high time. Just imagine this wet, chaotic drop of raw, completely unshaped potentiality being cast right into the middle of the structured kingdom. This single ink blot violently shatters the heavy stone walls of the scribe's static reality. It literally melts down those ironclad contracts into a dark, unwritten horizon.
Section 2. Eruption of Sapphire Light.
Now, right at the center of all this destruction is a concept called Redlichlicht. In Nietzschean philosophy, this translates to a very severe, brutal intellectual honesty, and here it visually manifests as a blinding sapphire light. To those living comfortably in their illusions, this light isn't some beautiful revelation. It's a terrifying, truth-telling monster. They actually fear it as unclean sorcery coming to wreck their perfectly ordered world.
The devastating effect of that sapphire light is absolute. It completely strips away the sunny bazaar of modern progress and those gleaming Art Deco towers, because once that illusion is pierced, what's left is a dark Camelot psychodrama. The state is exposed not as some impenetrable fortress, but as a temporary script written on a fragile, rotting canvas, leaving nothing but rusted Arthurian armor in a Gothic night city.
Section 3. Siblings of the Abyss.
At this point, 3 distinct spirit siblings emerge straight from the abyss to systematically dismantle whatever is left of the existing architectural order. First, we have Wit, the priestly jester. Then there's Hunger, the cosmic mind. And finally, the small gargoyle, a literal shadow from the abyss. Let's break down the grim work they each do.
Starting with Wit. Now don't let the name fool you, this isn't about comedy. Wit strides through these shadowed stalls, relentlessly mocking every righteous law people once held dear. By stripping away the philological Gothic type of their social order, Wit is basically signing the death warrants of the old gods. He forces the elite to realize a horrifying truth. They are defined only by what they hate. They're merely the not-self the self cannot abide.
Right behind Wit, you have Hunger looming. This is the Bard of the Abyss, and it destroys order in 3 specific terrifying steps. First, it feasts on forbidden knowledge locked away in the iron forestove. Second, it devours the very grammar of the Empire's self-belief. And finally, it triggers this massive kinetic eruption, flooding minds with the sapphire science of the void. All those old certainties, swallowed whole.
Section 4. Iron Knights and Shadow Beasts.
So here, a really stark contrast emerges. On one hand, you have the Knight of the Iron Word, the embodiment of the old state. He's crumbled into dust, representing this dead, static morality that's just weighed down by heavy chains. Opposite him is our third sibling, the small gargoyle. Crouching in the rain-slicked dark, this creature is incredibly dynamic. It's growing monstrously large on the decay of the old world, acting as living evidence of institutional failure.
This gargoyle literally grows fat on the rot hiding beneath the gilding, and it exposes a profound truth. Those old monuments were built entirely on du musst, which translates to thou shalt. That is the crushing Nietzschean command of static morality. It proves the kingdom was never built on truth, but on the oppressive weight of forced compliance. No genuine free will at all.
As the gargoyle swallows up these institutional lies, the noble souls in the merchant class begin to violently transform. With their sense of self completely ripped away, they twist into these uncanny shadow beasts. Their carefully constructed identities just bubble away like unclean sorcery in the face of the void. Why? because those identities were never actually real to begin with. It is a horrific, yet mesmerizing, total loss of ego.
Section 5. The Unwritten Horizon.
The city walls of your mind are gone, the ink is wet. I mean, that quote perfectly captures the visceral reality of this transition. For the scribe of this new world, the solid institutional fabrications that kept them safe have completely dissolved. There is no predetermined script anymore. They're just standing there in the chaotic, wet potentiality of a world that hasn't been written yet.
But, don't mistake this newfound freedom for salvation. That truth-telling monster of Redlicate, it offers absolutely no guide out of this fractured purgatory. There's no new utopian dream waiting on the other side. The raised mirror of the abyss reveals only what was denied the loudest, leaving us with nothing but the unvarnished, terrifying world behind the illusions. And that leaves us with the ultimate existential burden. The rigid contracts have dissolved into an unwritten horizon. Static morality has completely crumbled to dust. Because the illusions are gone, the heavy burden of writing the next line of reality no longer falls on the state or the gods. It falls squarely upon the scribe.
Which brings us to one final, provocative thought. Now that the ink is wet and the Fichtean walls have completely fallen, how will the trembling shadow beast hands of the scribe write the next line of the void? And more importantly, how will you write yours? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, keep questioning the walls around you.